it's unbelievable that something that's preventable, one will now die from it. I mean, when we used to do our fashion parties, the IMAC walk was a spin-off from the fashion parties we used to do. Everybody will come all dressed up, come to the fashion party, and then we'll do free screening afterwards. 25% of the ladies that came for a fashion party had strains. Had strains. Yes. And then we talk about that, and then there's the treatment that goes with it as well. I mean, if it's at the early stages, there's cryotherapy that can be adopted and things like that. And then you get people saying,
let's not get into that now, because that's very technical.
Well, I suppose it's technical, but treatment of it. But as we always say, and we'll keep saying it, we use the magazine and all the mediums we can. Screening is key. It's key, even if it's in your genetics, if it's in your diet, if it's in your...
I want to debunk one of Ebuka's myths. Smoking is not just for lung cancer. It's actually, smoking is actually found to be a predisposing factors for most cancers. Not just lung cancers. And there's not just primary smokers, secondary smokers.
What about passive?
That's secondary
smokers. Secondary smokers, exactly. Passive smokers.
They're even more at risk than the primary smokers. So it's not just...
some more myths. I mean, breast cancer, for example, we know it's probably most prevalent with women, and
probably
is it the highest killer in Nigeria?
As well.
For women, it's the highest cause of death in women. And actually, in Nigeria, so far, from hospital statistics, 3.3% of breast cancer deaths occur in men. And okay, let me just debunk some myths. They said that, if you're young, you can't have it, it's a lie. I've seen a 19-year-old with breast cancer. Now, because of change in diet and all that, we're having earlier occurrences of breast cancer than formerly before. And basically, the real burden of this disease lies between the ages of 30 to 50, which are like the most productive years of women's life. And women in Nigeria are basically like, breadwinners for the families. And most of these women in Nigeria that have breast cancer die, 70% of them die before 5 years because of late presentation. They present at stage 3, where mostly little intervention can be done, can be given to them. So because of late presentation, the burden is very high, and they die leaving children below the ages of 20, and it's a real burden for our society.
Are there any signs that a cancer center will be built anytime soon around this part?
Everybody's working.
I know for sure that there's something coming up in Oyo State. Some group of medical persons are putting together something. And for Pink Pearl, I know Pink Pearl, they're trying to get the cancer center done in Delta State. And but what we need is not just one center.
It's not one center.
It's more than one, because the burden is high.
We're so many people.
In some states overseas, as in developed worlds, even let's not go there. Let's take India, for example. India is like third world, the way to us, In India, you can imagine that the total estate in India has 22 centers in the state of Delhi. You can imagine the response to the disease. It's not just by small groups like ours making noise here, talking to people there. That's little, like a drop in the ocean. It's not enough to really cause the stirring that we need. It takes more than that. It takes everybody, yourself, talking to people around you. You can imagine how people listening to us now, if they go home and talk to their families, their friends,
just listen to
yes. So you can imagine the change that can occur from that. Men actually, they keep a mute ear. They're like, no, it's
men are unbelievable.
Men actually, I know of a man that helped his wife. The wife called me and she's like, I have a lump in my breast. My husband noticed it yesterday, and he came to my office, and sincerely, it was a lump. She went for screening and they had it taken out, and after histology, it was cancer. So you can imagine if the man was not attentive, or if the man did not know beyond just his normal activities. So I think everybody should be educated. It goes.
Let's stop with the doom and gloom for a bit. And since you started your walks, it's been 3-4 years now. 4 years.
Yeah, the walk.
Have you noticed any sort of change or improvements in people you've dealt with awareness? Is there any progress being made at all?
Some progress are being made, but it's little. It's, step by step, little steps by steps, actually. Because, like I said, there's so many people in Nigeria. There are, 130 to 60 million. or more. And when we do our walks, like last year, we had over 600 people. And yes, we're doing our bit, but it's a little bit in a little, our little space, so to speak. We would like a situation where we had lots of money available, lots of resources available. Instead of working with 3 centers, we're working with maybe 10, and then we're sending these women to different parts of Lagos or different parts of the country to be screened. But one thing that we do know is that we get a lot of calls from people that didn't know A or B about these cancers, and they're glad they've attended, they're glad they were screened, and they're thankful that we even provided this service to them. But it's a step, it's a gradual step. We're making a little step, but we'd like to do more. Yeah. Instead of screening 1,000 people, let's screen 5,000, for instance. Yeah. Let's do way more than that. Let's bring all these women together. And these are ladies, although, there's free cervical cancer screening going at some of these centers. It's maybe 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira to be screened at some centers. Some ladies can't afford it. They can't. So the onus is on whoever it is that's put it on themselves to try to drive this awareness to get them screened, so to speak. Yes, it's not our responsibility, but since we've said it's something that actually takes a lot of screening. Exactly. But since we've said this is what we want to do, and this is our way to, one way or the other, help women, we're taking it very seriously. And although it's gradual, but the aim is to be able to screen thousands of women every year, and not just, our work is in September, not just in September, but all throughout the year.
Okay, let me just give you one for Pink Pearl. Like for 2 years now, we do the Wednesday clinic, and more like awareness clinic for women. We've gone through schools, we've done school tours where we reached out to thousands of young ladies. We screened them for breast cancer and cervical cancer. I think last year alone, we screened more than 5,000 women for breast cancer and cervical cancer. And it's an ongoing process, as in journey for us. Every year we keep topping up the numbers. Let's see how well and how more we can actually reach out to more women. Like on Tuesday now, which is the World Cancer Day, we're setting up screening clinics in Oshodi Market and the Lagos Island Market, which is Balogun Market. So we plan on screening 2,000 women in each of these venues, and we advocate first of all for screening them, because it's more like if you don't talk to them, if you don't get them around, you can't have them to submit to be screened. They won't even understand. So we see it as a three-pronged approach. Tell them again and again as much as you can. Check them, screen them, and if need be, treat them. We have women that we're actually treating, and we have a support group for women. And you can imagine the burden, because the cost of chemotherapy for a woman with cancer, just a dose, is about 120,000 naira, and most times they have to go through 5 before surgery or after surgery. You understand? So it's a huge burden on the women. So when they know all this, they know that, look, if I find this out early, it's best for me. So we're creating more awareness. We're giving them tools, empowering them to check themselves. So it's like, this is how you do your self-breast examination. This is what you do regularly. Go and do your mammogram when you're above 40 regularly,
Yeah, just very quick final words now.
Yeah.
By the next World Cancer Day in 2015, what do you want to see happen in Nigeria?
Miracles happen every day. I would love for, no, seriously, I would love for there to be a free screening center, well, not a number of free screening centers for women. A lot of women.
So screening does a lot.
Screening does a lot. It saves.
Don't talk about women here.
Well, no, I was just about to say men, because we do prostate cancer. We, screen men for prostate cancer as well. But a cancer screening section, a cancer screening clinic. Lots of them in Nigeria.
I would want to see where our government takes responsibility, and they establish across the nation centers of excellence for cancer care. I'd want to see more and accurate statistics being taken, as in this respect of cancer in Nigeria. I would want to see where corporate societies,
take up responsibility.
Yeah, the corporate sector in Nigeria take up responsibility and know that this affects even their own people. Yeah. Imagine if that woman you want to employ, that woman you need, or that man you need to change your business, dies before you meet him from cancer. That turnaround would occur, So it's something. It's beyond that person that has the disease.
Yeah.
It goes on to. It's about our society. It's about our own economy. It's a financial burden on our economy. We're losing numbers.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ofuma, and thank you very much, Tewa. I just hope that this message continues regardless of World Cancer Day. It should be an ongoing message.
Of course, daily.
The message continues to trickle down to all those who need it. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Yes,
I have
personally
learned a lot. Well, when we come back, we have another very interesting guest in the house. Please do stay with us.